Chapter 21, Winds of Change, Part 2. It's amazing, the thoughts that rattle around in the back of your mind as you hurtle toward the ground. It's even more amazing how clear they become when all the things that overwhelmed my senses just before the jump began to disappear. I closed my eyes and just listened to the wind whistle in my ears. With flashes of the lightning bouncing off my closed eyes, I could hear it, the persistent nagging of a thought that burdened me. It was the Duchess's defamation of my character. No matter how fast or far I fell, it clung to me. You're probably thinking, what a strange thing that is to think about while free-falling from a ledge. But at the same time, I found it appropriate. As I tumbled through the darkness, I felt like an angel falling from grace. The deeper I sank, the louder I prayed for someone would reach in and pull me out. That someone came in the form of my friend, the griffin, who saved me feet before I hit the ground. From that moment, I saw Griffin's call that I heard from the balcony as my chance for redemption. If indeed Alice and I weren't the heroes that Wonderland thought us to be, then my actions over the course of the rest of this war would serve as proof that by the end we would be. Thanks for the catch, I said as I got situated on Griffin's back. Happy to be of assistance, sire, he replied in a friendly tone. Where will I be taking you today? The White Queen, do you know where she is? I asked. Griffin's voice turned serious for a moment. I spotted her on a cliff with the King of Clubs on the edge of the field. She looked rather grim, I'm afraid. Then we must hurry. There's not a lot of time left, I fired back. My thoughts exactly, Griffin replied. If I may, Alan, I suggest that you sheathe that sword. It might be safer to hang on with two hands. Even though this childish safety warning made me chuckle, I followed his advice, and we were on our way. My life was now resting on Griffin's wings as we soared through skies of dark magic. His aerial ability was put to the test as we fought for ground against the wind and rain that was trying to beat us back. The deeper we flew into the storm, the more treacherous the conditions became. Soon, using barrel rolls and other acrobatics, we were dodging lightning bolts and kamikazing jabberwockies that sought to knock us out of the air. All things considered, we survived these elements that challenged us without a scratch, and dare I say, easily. With the edge of the battlefield and the cliff in our sights, we appeared to reach a lull in the action. For a short time, the skies seemed hostile-free, and the flight was casual. I was even able to spot a familiar black spot in the distance. It was another friend, the raven. After watching him glide gracefully through the storm, he joined up with us, and we flew side by side. I remember finding it incredible that somehow this odd little bird had survived this long, but I had forgotten how thin the line between life and death is in war. 1 second, he was right next to me, and the next, he was struck by a lightning bolt and was instantly obliterated. It was so sudden there was no time for reaction. But I knew this casualty was a sign that something was about to go wrong. I wish I didn't have to be right. The lightning bolt that killed the raven struck so close to us, Griffin had to veer off his path to avoid being hit himself. This unpredictable occurrence was enough to distract us from the oncoming ambush from more Jabberwocky foes. They were swift and almost silent behind the rolls of thunder. Before Griffin could catch them, They were circling back to take another swipe, which was only enough to stun him, not knock him out of the air. Blows came from all directions until he was too battered to defend himself from a full-on tackle. Clearly, having the wind knocked out of him, he struggled to keep us in the air. Nonetheless, he refused to go down. The bludgeoning kept on until the Jabberwocky latched on after his charge. Now, the two were locked in an intense aerial battle, which you could imagine was quite terrifying from my perspective. To make it even more so, Griffin and the Jabberwocky eventually clung together and began spinning like eagles. It was unclear who had the upper hand, but after enough time, the even match of teeth and claws became handicapped as more Jabberwockies joined the fight. First came one, then another, as they each slammed down and clung to Griffin, making him cry out in anguish. I wanted so badly to reach for my blade and help fend off the pack as they swarmed, but the predicament we were in made it far too dangerous to let go. With there being nothing I could do to help my friend, I knew the only way this could end was badly. We approached the cliff rather ungracefully, and my grip on Griffin's feathers started to loosen. That's when I heard him say, "Alan, you have to jump for it." "No, I won't leave you," I fired back. "I'm not asking, sire. I will get you as close as I can, then you have to jump at the first chance you get. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine," he said with confidence. I found this order to be completely insane, but as we lost our altitude, I could see that it was valid. I knew I had to be patient with my jump, because a fall from this height was guaranteed to kill me. Our descent came rapidly as Griffin lost strength. It looked like we were going to collide with the side of the cliff. The last words I heard him say before I jumped were, "Jump, now." My leap of faith had somehow gotten me to the cliff safely, but Griffin was not so lucky. Just after I landed, he and the Jabberwockies that swarmed him crash-landed into the cliff. The heap of bodies smashed through the ground, somersaulting and taking most of the land with them as they skidded across the surface. I watched as the Jabberwockies dragged Griffin off the other side of the cliff and down to the cloudy ground below. That was the last time I ever saw him. That's going to wrap this episode up for us, guys. It's a short one right in the middle of all this chaos, but that's going to keep us rolling into the next one. So I'll see you guys there.